Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Talk Tuesday. It's October 23rd, and today we're going to talk about social media crisis management and planning. This is something that a lot of companies fail to plan for. Everybody gets excited and they jump on social media and they always see results if they do it correctly. And, we start to get our followers and we start to get a lot of feedback, and it's really exciting. But sometimes, even with the right intention, things can go badly. And you don't mean for them to go badly, but it can happen. So what's really important is to have a social media crisis plan in effect prior to having this social media crisis happen. So I'm going to give it a couple seconds to let some people join. Thanks so much, you guys. I see a few people joining already, and we appreciate that. Also, you guys, if you have any questions while we are doing this live, feel free to punch them in. I will try to answer them as they come in. If not, we will answer them afterwards. Of course, we always post our live Coffee Talk Tuesdays on our Facebook page. They'll be on our Instagram. Hello, Instagram, up there in the corner. And also, they will be on our YouTube channel. Our new coffee cups for Stark Media Group have not come in yet, so I'm using my old coffee cup. But I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes. And if there's any other questions that anybody wants answered, you guys are always welcome to write into us, give us a call, stop by the office at 15 West 2nd Street. And, we're happy to answer questions, help you guys out. We're always here for small businesses, whatever you need. Okay, so let's get started. Lots of people have joined, so that's exciting. Good morning, PJ Sesto and Insta James and whoever else has joined us. Thanks so much. Okay, so we have all seen social media crises go viral. We've all experienced them, and I'm going to remind you of some of these. And some people we know have Twitter trigger finger, right? And so some people just quickly tweet things, and those will also come back and bite them in the dupa. So we see them all the time. And as the New York Times says, there's nothing that goes more viral more quickly on social media than the emotion of anger, right? People are very, very quick to respond, to give their comment. They almost wait for something to happen so that they can start to push something viral, give their comment, get other people to join on this bandwagon of, unfortunately, anger on social media. It's very easy. Happiness, great, feel-good stories go viral too, but, anger goes viral too. So we can all recall a couple of these that have gone viral in the past. Like, if you guys some examples, you're going to go, oh, yeah, I remember that. One of them was, one thing that we talk about are hashtags, right? Prior to using a hashtag, you should really check your hashtag, see what it's associated with, see if anybody's using this hashtag, and see if it's ever been used in a negative way. Also, when there is a social media hashtag that someone's using for a good purpose, don't exploit it for your company in a poor way. One example was a few years ago, there was a hashtag going around, and it was why I stayed. Hashtag why I stayed. This hashtag was associated with raising awareness for domestic violence and domestic abuse. And it really was people telling their stories about why they stayed and giving a better understanding of why people stay in domestic abuse situations for a long time, when people who aren't in those situations don't understand. Well, anyway, DiGiorno decided to jump on this bandwagon and really use this hashtag inappropriately and got social justice right away, which occurs on social media very easily. And so they took the hashtag and all they did was hashtag why I stayed, because he had pizza. As you can only, right, your heart sinks as I say it, right? Like whoever was on that social media team, I don't know what they were thinking. It was insensitive, it was inappropriate, and immediately they had social justice, and they had to, issue an apology, which of course they should. That was completely insensitive. Another incident is the New Balance. And so let me shut that off. That's my heater. It's getting cold here in the Northeast. Is New Balance. So when President Trump was first running for office, New Balance really was backing his political stance on a few things. And so they tweeted something that said, I don't want to get it wrong. So what they tweeted was, Obama turned a deaf ear, and we feel with President Trump, things are moving in the right direction. Well, guess who jumped on this bandwagon, right? A neo-Nazi group jumped on this bandwagon. So this neo-Nazi group that has a platform called it's called the Storm Defender, I believe. Yeah, I think it's called the Daily Stormer. Sorry, it's called the Daily Stormer. So they jumped on, and on their social media platforms, they then declared New Balance as the official brand of the Trump revolution. And now this is without President Trump, whether you like him or you don't like him. This is without the Trump campaign authorizing this. This is completely another organization branding New Balance and the Trump campaign, as together, as the new Trump revolution. So what people ended up doing was, all of a sudden on social media, what went viral were people putting in a hashtag of New Balance and throwing their brand new sneakers in the garbage. So hundreds and hundreds of people were taking pictures of themselves throwing their sneakers into a garbage because they didn't agree with what this neo-Nazi group had done. There's been other really bad viral videos that have gone on for companies. And what's very important when you do have a crisis situation is that you respond appropriately. You need to feel the temperature of what's going on online, and you need to respond appropriately. I'm going to go through all the steps of response, and then I'm actually going to put a crisis management plan step by step on our private social media group, which anybody can join. It's Stark Media Group Marketing, Stark Media Marketing Group. Stark Media Marketing Group. So anybody can join that. So I'm going to put the actual step-by-step plan that you guys can print it out if you want for your companies. But everybody remembers the United Airlines video of them, officers coming onto a plane and dragging a person off of the plane. Like, if the video wasn't horrible enough, right? It was shocking. It was horrible. You could see that the person wasn't resisting arrest, but yet they weren't really, conforming, but they were dragging him off. Well, the bad part of this is not just the fact that they dragged a human being off a plane, but that the CEO of United then responded extremely poorly, and he did victim blaming. Well, just like Reddit, if anybody knows the social media platform Reddit, they sniff you out right away. And society almost looks for a poor response because they're going to jump right on that bandwagon and start to, smash you even more. And of course, the victim blaming is never acceptable. And that was probably the worst response that the CEO could have done. So then, of course, he had to go back and apologize again in a good light and in a good manner, and feel the social conscience and work according to a social conscience. You should never do a knee-jerk reaction to anything that's happening online. You need to form your team, and I'm going to go over this, and respond appropriately. And then the last very funny one is the Federal Department of Education. Okay, so they actually had made a post, and they spelled W.E.B. Du Bois' name incorrectly in their post. So then, and this is Department of Ed, remember. So then they had to go back and write an apology for spelling his name Thank you, Annie. I have a shirt for you also. Um, they had to go back and they had to write an apology um, for spelling his name incorrectly. Well, in the apology, they spelled apologize wrong in the apology tweet. And this is Department of Ed. Like, you really need to double check your stuff before you send it out. That's just like a simple thing. But of course, it went viral because it was the Department of Education. You know, it could have been somebody else and not as bad, but you have to know your brand and you have to know your company and you really have to know what people are going to pick apart. Okay, so now let's get down to measuring areas where you can reduce your risk. So when you have a social media crisis, it's not just about after it happens. There's a lot of things you can do prior to helping yourself avoid a social media crisis, right? So we have to think about the before, the during, and the after when you think about a social media crisis. And one of the biggest problems is that a lot of companies don't think about this. And then once a crisis happens, everybody's jumping around and everybody's panicking and things are getting done without a thoughtful plan of action. So, like I mentioned before, one of the things you can do to reduce your risk, number one, is check your hashtags before you put these hashtags associated with any campaign or post that you're going to do. Make sure that nobody else is using them. Make sure that they're not being used inappropriately. Think through how this hashtag could be used. For example, McDonald's used the hashtag McD Stories, thinking people would go in and they would maybe make a video or write a story about their great experience at McDonald's. Well, what ended up happening was people took that hashtag and what they did was they ended up using it to highlight maybe inappropriate products that McDonald's uses to make their hamburgers and incidents where they were unhappy with customer service. And, you know, they ended up using it in a very negative light instead of using it in a positive light. So that kind of backfired on McDonald's, and they probably should have thought that through. Maybe sometimes hindsight's 2020, but they probably should have thought that through as to how is this hashtag going to be used. The next one is avoid capitalizing on national tragedies. So in my opinion, I think that some of these companies probably were trying to do the right thing using this hashtag. But however, on social media, things can be a very sensitive subject. And so you really need to be wary of how it's going to be perceived if you use a certain hashtag. And one in particular is anything to do with 9/11. So, you know, hashtag never forgets, hashtag 9/11, all those hashtags. When it comes to September 11th, some companies will post a picture like CVS and post, you know, never forget. And they posted a picture of, like, you know, the two big lights that come up at ground zero. This is viewed in a really poor light on social media. People don't like this. And so what CVS did was they posted a picture of the two large lights that come out of ground zero, and they had their little logo in the corner of that, and they just said CVS never forgets. And it didn't go over well. And a lot of companies did this. Wendy's did this. A lot of companies did the hashtag. People feel as though that is really capitalizing on a national tragedy. So for future reference, I would avoid all of that. I wouldn't post something, or if you're going to post something, make sure that you do it in the most sensitive light possible. Okay, the other one is be wary of what's in the news. You have to stay on top of the news, and not just to keep your posts current, not just to keep your posts you know, in the relative light of what's happening, like Christmas or Thanksgiving or Kwanzaa or whatever the holidays are, whatever's going on. You always want to try to make them relevant, but also a lot of social media companies, what we do is we use social media platforms like Hootsuite or Buffer or something like that. And we will post all of our social media posts, weeks in advance. It's a time saver. It's effective. And so we may have something posted 2 weeks from now. Well, within 2 weeks, something may happen in the news. It's pretty important, pretty tragic, needs a lot of attention, very sensitive. You need to go ahead and look at those posts. And what you might want to do is you just might want to suspend posts until, it's appropriate to put them back out there. Because the last thing you want to do is put something out there that's really inappropriate during a national tragedy or when you want to raise awareness for something else. The other thing to do is when you have a crisis or you think it's a crisis, you need to sit down with your team and really say, is this a crisis? Is this a real crisis? Or is this just a sticky situation? And you need to evaluate this the right way. And you need to think it through. Like, what are the long-term effects of this situation? How is this going to affect our brand? Are we going to suffer long-term? Is there going to be a huge negative impact, especially financially for your business? Those are the things you need to think about. And once you decide whether this is a sticky situation or whether this is truly a social media crisis and you need a management plan, that's when you need to have your crisis management plan already in effect. And this is where a lot of companies fail to prepare. And if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And so it's a few simple, easy steps to take because it is so much better to have everybody on board and have a handout, literally, or a central place everyone can go on your team to say, okay, it's happening. Let's refer to the plan that we already talked about and face this in an organized fashion. So it's not just the insulting incident that is the problem, but it's also going to be the insulting incident on the emerging crisis, but it's also going to be the fallout and then the follow-up, right? So these are all the things that you have to think about when something happens. So a couple things that are important is know everybody on your emergency response team. Know everybody on there know everybody who should be part of your response team. And they should have their roles, and their roles should be defined, and everybody should know their roles, right? You need to know how you will respond, who you are responding to. You need to monitor your platforms. You need to monitor the situation and not have knee-jerk responses. So most of the time, companies will refer immediately to their attorneys, right? Which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but attorneys aren't known to be soft and cuddly. And on social media, even though it can go out to thousands or millions of people, it still can be a very one-on-one type of platform, and it's social. And people expect that individual response from you. It's okay to put out a hub, right? To have a hub where you put out your statement so everybody goes there because you want to control the situation. But if people are actually DMing you or they are writing comments, they need to be responded to individually. And I'm not talking about trolls. I'm not talking about insults. I'm talking about actual concerned clients of yours or actual concerned people. That's who you're going to respond to because they deserve that response and they expect that response. And they will sniff out those general responses. Trust me, we've seen it happen. We've been part of it. When our companies don't listen to us, when we tell them about a social media plan. If you put out that general response, we are so sorry you feel upset by this. That is such a cookie cutter response. And everybody sniffs you out. Don't do it. Just wait until you can actually form a cohesive, thought out, sensitive response to the crisis that's happening. And then put that out there. Also create a hub. Make a long long-winded explanation as to why this is happening, why you did what you did, and give a very good, sincere apology as to why you did this or why it happened. And, that's not going to happen again, yada, yada, yada. But make a hub so that people can go there, like on a Facebook or a website. Don't do it on Twitter, or refer them from Twitter. Otherwise, you're doing 140 characters all the time and you're limiting yourself. Like, that's just torture for any social media company or any company, So put it in a platform where you can actually give a lot of detail and have these people go to that platform and have a place for them to, go to it and read things. A perfect example is NYPD. NYPD does a phenomenal job at social media. They are always the source of information. They make everybody go to them for answers. They are very responsive. They put out information ASAP. They are incredibly good with their social media, and you could learn a lot from looking at the NYPD social media. So, like I said, you need to have a genuine, sincere apology. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. The team should have a cohesive tone, voice, and style and consistency across all of your social media platforms. I mean, in an ideal situation, if it's possible, and you can have like a crisis room, right? That is the ideal situation. You get people who are responsible for this tweet, for this reaction, for this, whatever the incident is, those people are in the room. You get your social media team, you get your attorneys, and you get anybody else that is important on your team into one room, and you discuss everything. Your attorneys are very important for legal purposes, but your social media team is really vital because they are the ones who have all the expertise in how people respond on social media platforms, what social media platforms we should be looking at, following hashtags, setting Google alerts. These are all things that your social media team is going to be incredibly educated about. And they're going to say, look, this is where we have to look. This is how we monitor. Give us a general statement. Know what kind of responses you're going to make and who you're going to make them to. And everybody works as a team. That's really the way it should be. And if you have already created the crisis management plan, everybody pulls that out. We already are, 3/4 of the way through our plan. And now we just have to say, okay, what's our message going to be? It's a lot easier that way than knee-jerk reactions and trying to manage a plan after the crisis has happened. So just to recap everything, and like I said, I'm going to put everything on the Stark Media Marketing Group as a basically step-by-step on how to do this. And so you can go there, print it out, talk about it, and have it with your team. And this is probably something you should institute in your team. So when you do have a social media crisis, first evaluate, is this really a crisis or is this just a sticky situation? All right, because your approach is going to be different. Next, work quickly but thoroughly, okay? Get everybody together, get everybody in a conference call, get everybody in a conference room, but get everybody on the same plane, okay? And don't make knee-jerk reactions because people are online waiting for you to say something silly, say something stupid, misspell a word, not to be genuine. They're just waiting. They're waiting for that to happen, and understand that that's already out there. That's a given. It's not I hope they don't. It's they will. Be prepared. That's the way it is. 2, give your audience updates. Give them a hub to go to. You be the source of information. You be the one to control what's being said and what's being sent out there. If they have to go to you for answers, they will go to you for answers. Also, reply to your individuals, not to your trolls, not to your mean comments, but to your sincerely concerned individuals who are sending messages, excuse me, sending messages to you. Social media is social. Those people are going to be your brand ambassadors. Those people are going to be the ones that turn that negative around into a positive. Those are the ones that are going to start tweeting, start posting, and people are all going to see their posts. They're going to be the ones that are going to change the attitude and the social climate about your crisis. I talked about posting a response in a hub where everybody can go for that. And then once you've done all those steps, you know what? You let the dust settle. You've done all your steps. You've done everything you can. You don't want to bring more attention to your crisis than necessary. You want to step back from it and start to see what happens, but don't ignore it. Don't continue to bring awareness to your crisis. Just after you've taken the appropriate steps, let the dust settle. Then you watch your social media platforms and you respond to your concerned clients, your concerned followers appropriately. Don't ignore them if they bring it back up. Don't hope that it just goes away, but pay attention to that. They're very, very important to you, and they're very important to the social media, especially like say it's an influencer. Say it's a Kardashian or somebody who has 1 million followers and they say something to you. You want to respond to them because they're going to post that out there. They're going to, people are following them and they're going to see how they respond. Whether you believe that they're a positive or negative influencer, if they have that kind of following, it's going to have an impact on your company. So be sure to respond to those people, especially the influencers. And if you can get an influencer to be a brand ambassador for you, great. That's what you need. So I will post all of this on the social media marketing group, Stark Media Marketing Group. Be sure to become a member. Feel free to send in any questions about today's social media crisis management planning. We're always happy to answer questions. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media our social media platforms. Sorry, I have my brain going and my mouth talking at the same time. So we are now Stark Media Group NY on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Be sure to follow us. If you like us, please feel free to share this. We would appreciate that. And join us every Tuesday for Coffee Talk Tuesday. We are happy to highlight any social media questions that you have, anything to do with digital marketing. If you guys have, some sort of issue that's going on with your company, shoot us an email, shoot us a text, DM us, whatever. We will do a Coffee Talk Tuesday on it. We're more than happy to, okay? So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and we will see you next week. Don't know what my title is going to be yet. Kind of depends on the social climate. Usually, like, this just happened with one of our companies, so that's why we did it. And we love seeing you guys. So have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. I'm ending. Yes, I do want to end it.